Okay, so I'll call the meeting to order for the school board for March 25th, starting at 6:30. And we'll start with a salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll do a roll call, please.
Did you go
We
first?
do it in alphabetical order.
Hello.
It took me a year to learn it.
So it would be
Bryant
Bryant
here.
here,
Phrase here.
Keen here.
Kit here.
Over here.
Got down.
And
So
there's
welcome
another.
Shannon to our board.
Thank you.
And we're going to do a little bit of talk about the reorganization of the school board, because when we were at the workshop, I inadvertently called for nominations for co-chair instead of vice chair. And so I need to hear from the board whether they thought that we wanted to have co-chairs with two people in charge or a vice chair.
I thought it was a vice chair.
I was vice chair.
Okay,
That's what.
so if everybody wouldn't mind amending Andy's position to vice chair, maybe a motion to amend Andy's position to vice chair.
I'll make a motion to amend Andy's position to vice chair.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's all set. And then we are going to start right away with the assignment of committees. So I've chatted with a few of you members to find out what everybody would like. So I'm going to go down the list of the committees we have. Board of Selectmen, Andy's been doing it, and you said you wanted to continue.
I could continue, yeah. If someone else wants it, I could do it.
Okay. And do they meet weekly?
Yes, but I only meet with it once a month.
Oh, okay.
Except for during budget season, then it's like impossible to meet with
Okay.
them.
So do you pick a certain meeting, or do they put you on the agenda?
I get on the agenda, I was on the agenda like the third Thursday of every month at like
Okay.
6:45. And the next one is Tuesday, the first Thursday in April at 6:30.
Okay. All right, good, great. And then Budget Committee, I was gonna ask Greg to continue.
Yeah. Well, again, unless someone else wants to. I actually enjoy
Is
it.
anybody
Yeah.
stepping up to that? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Looks like you can have it,
I
right?
enjoy it. It's
Um,
hard.
I think we're going, after our discussion on the strategic plan, I believe we're gonna actually disband the curriculum committee.
Yes.
But because it hasn't been officially done yet, we'll just leave Andy there, but we'll be handling that through the strategic plan. The Joint Board Teacher Committee, I was gonna continue on. Manifest review approval, Tammy has said she wants to stay with that. The New Hampshire School Board Association, Greg has been doing it, but Andy asked to do it. I didn't think you'd mind,
No,
Greg?
not at all.
Okay. Personnel and Policy Committee, Tammy and Andy have both shown interest in that, which makes me very happy because I don't really want to do it anymore. Professional Development Plan. Shannon, I was wondering if you would want to do that. There has not been a lot of activity on it, and the people that are on it could certainly help you acclimate to it.
Okay.
It does have to be rewritten on a 5-year cycle, so I don't know where they are with that, but you usually get contacted when they're going to be meeting to do that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. And public relations was something that we all helped build a report or a newsletter, but then Sharon Girardi used to be the one who actually made it pretty. So I didn't know if that was something you
I
could
could do that.
I know you are
Yeah.
capable of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, so I thought if I could ask you to do that.
Certainly.
School board rep to the PTA, I was gonna volunteer for that this year. I can go to both morning and evening meetings, so that makes it easy, I think, because I know, Tim, you had trouble going to the early meetings.
I have the kids whenever it happens, so, yeah.
Okay. So, support staff negotiations, I was going to put Tammy and Greg on that, because Greg asked to be put on that.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
Teacher negotiations, I was gonna have myself and Andy on that. Technology committee, I was gonna leave it as Greg and Ida. Is that okay with you, Greg? You like being on that, don't you? Okay. Wellness committee, I was gonna ask Shannon to do that. That's also very sporadic. It doesn't meet very often, maybe twice
I'm
a
gonna
year.
try to get it off the ground.
Okay.
Since I've been here, I'm not aware of any meetings, but it's something that we really have to do for our food service review.
Okay.
We at least have to have 2 meetings a year. So I believe it was Julie Field that was running it, so I was gonna get in contact
Well,
with her.
she's not, neither nurse is on the wellness committee this year. It's
Okay.
Kelly Booth, I know is on it, and Melinda Avellino.
Okay, then I need to get in touch with them. Okay.
I'm not sure who else,
All right,
I'm
well,
sorry.
Shannon, I'll try to fill you in.
We ended up shuttling over to the safety committee, so that's how things had changed.
Okay, thank you.
And grant writing committee is a new one, and we'll be talking about that this evening. We have to actually form the committee first, I think, before we assign people. However, Tammy and Andy have shown an interest in that, so,
I'm interested also.
okay, okay. We can talk about that. Teacher evaluation team, we have a committee already formed for that, and Greg and I have been the reps for that, and I think it would be best if we just stay with that, because that's already been a charge of the board. And we're in the process of getting close to, I think, seeing an evaluation form from the team, so Greg and I will stay on that. And that's all I have for right now.
Okay.
So, if that sounds good to everybody, I'll just entertain a motion to accept my appointments as stated.
I'll make a motion to accept the appointments as stated.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Fiscal year 15 school board calendar of meetings. Has everybody had a chance to look at that? Any requests for changes? I'm okay with it. I know in the past, some board members have wanted to change like the November one because it's the week of Thanksgiving, and they want to change the Christmas one because it's the week of Christmas. But I'm okay with these dates. So then I just would need a motion to accept the calendar as presented.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And we have a volunteer who stepped forward to offer her services as school district clerk. Her name is Trish Coulombe. Okay, and she's here this evening. It's in our packet. And I don't know if anybody has anything they'd like to say, or if they would just like to
Thank you.
make the nomination.
Make nomination to accept our offer.
Second. Okay, any other discussion?
Let me know if you have any questions, since I've been doing that.
Other than getting sworn in.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Trish, very, very much. We appreciate it.
We'll be in touch.
Okay. Old business. I was wondering how the concert was at Sanborn Regional.
Would you like to start?
It was good. I mean, it was good. We got there, it was a packed house, and we watched from the first year all the way up to the high school. I didn't talk to the music teachers, they were too busy. But at the end I stopped and I talked to, I've been in here, the people that Seacoast Music Center or other. They're Seacoast Academy of Music. They're the ones that do the after school music lessons. And I asked them if they'd be open to me coming to Fremont. And they said definitely, so they sent me some information, I forwarded it to you and Betsy will get to everyone out.
Great.
But at a high level, you know, the stuff that I read on paper was, for 5 weeks of lessons, it's $150 for private lessons, 30 minutes long, or if you want to do group lessons, it's $150 for 45 minutes or 5 lessons. So split that between 5 weeks like that. So, it's really good.
The way this came about is we were at the polls trying to plug the all of our articles, but especially Articles 2 and 4. And a nice lady that lives in town came up to us and told me that she works at, I think she works at the Newton Middle School.
The middle school.
I'm pretty sure she was the one that was from the middle school.
Okay.
But anyway, she started telling me about her music program and how much she would like Fremont students to maybe have some band experience before they get to the high school, because then they could just segue right into the high school band. And she was very nice, and she offered to give us 4 tickets to the concert, which I guess is sold out. I mean, she said
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
very hard to get
Close
tickets.
to
She wasn't even
time.
sure she could get us tickets. So we were able to get tickets, and I
Yeah.
guess they were at the desk for you without
Yes,
any
they
trouble. So
We had to
Betsy
figure
was
out
able
the-
to go, and Greg was able to go, and I don't think anybody from the school was able to make it that
No,
night. They were busy.
unfortunately, no.
So,
If I might, I'd like to make a couple
Yes.
comments. From what I could see, being a music teacher, it was, they had a wonderful elementary program going. They had combined the bands, and they had done a great deal of work. The kids were quite proficient. They had a series of belts, like you earn in karate, where kids could move up to various levels. They had the students stand who had earned each color of belt, and there were rounds of applause. They had set up a theme based on Holst's The Planets, which, if you don't know, the Mars movement of the planets, which has a 5-beat bum, 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 it's a killer to listen to. But the original Star Wars theme for the Imperial March was supposed to be based on Holst's The Planets, Mars, because of its military sound. And he didn't want to write it in 5, John Williams, so he wrote it in 4, and it ended up being in count of 4, which is a little different. But they played different movements from the planets. Each grade, each level as they moved up to high school, based upon the abilities, the arrangements were made simpler, and then they finished with the march from Star Wars. So it was really neat.
wow.
What I saw was an excellent program coming up through middle school, and when the high school was great, but it was small, because it's clear that Fremont is missing from it. You know, if Fremont had an instrumental program, the band would be significantly larger, probably by a third. Which is too bad. It's too bad for the high school, and it's too bad for the Fremont kids. So I love their, kind of revitalized in that we have got to move forward on this. And I spoke to John about getting, again, as we had talked earlier, with one of the music people that he knows about setting something up for an after-school, to start with an after-school program. So hopefully we can get that moving.
Okay. Any other old business?
Yeah,
Anybody?
I think that's-
Okay, agenda revisions. I do have a suggestion for this evening, just because this agenda is huge. I was thinking that we should possibly table section 8, H, review of the fiscal year 15 budget, and section M, if the meeting goes beyond 9 o'clock. Like, if we're getting close to 9, I think we should table the policies until the next meeting. And we won't have new policies the next
Right.
meeting anyway, because the policy committee hasn't met, because we were in transition between people. So, and section N. What was that about? Oh, yeah. It's just that school board representative forum, which we can talk about at the next meeting if we want to. If we don't have time tonight. If it's within 9 o'clock, we can certainly do N, but I don't think the policy's done. And then,
We wanted A and I to combine them.
right, I wanted to move section 13. Oh, I and A, just combine them together because they're really the same topic.
You just I up to
I up to A, okay. Yep. It's the discussion of the failure of the contract
Yep.
and the FEA petition request for revote. So, if that pleases everybody, we will do that for the agenda revision. We don't need a vote, we just need consensus.
Yep.
Okay, so that way we won't be here till midnight. And it gives us more time to look at the budget too. I don't
I
know
was
if
gonna
anybody
say, I
else
think-
felt that they had, I didn't feel like I
didn't
really
think
had
so.
enough time to look at the whole budget and what it means. So, all right, we'll go to the approval of minutes then, and we'll start with the public minutes of February 25th. Is this at the Ellis School?
I wasn't here, but that was.
February 25th?
Yeah.
It's the night you guys approved the wireless bid.
Well, because there's a couple of things too. It says 5 o'clock at the top of those minutes, and then it says we started at 6:30.
Right, okay, I'll fix
And
that.
it says Ellis School, but I think this was done here.
It was the meeting before that, it was the
Okay.
before
Sorry.
the deliberative that was at the Ellis School. So you probably just pulled it over.
Yep, sorry.
That's okay, that's
Okay, I'll fix that.
I was racking my brain trying to think, and I could picture Carla being here talking about stuff, so.
Right.
That's right.
And I think it must have started right at 6:30, so just the top part there.
That's right,
I should
yep.
say 6:30. Did anybody have any corrections that they wanted?
Mine are in there, as you can
Mhm.
see.
Yeah.
Do you have specials, Sue?
Yep, thank you.
Just in section F where Betsy has encumber instead of hire.
Yep.
Encumber up to, you could just add the word to.
Okay.
1,000. Did anybody else have any? I didn't have any other corrections in these minutes.
She had one more correction, and I would always made. Miss Penny would let Miss Kit know the word no in between Kit and Len.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So you scroll down.
Anything else? Is there a motion to accept as amended?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm gonna abstain.
Okay. And March, the minutes for March 3rd.
Something 7 o'clock.
Yep. Yeah, so the top should just be 7.
Yeah,
So
yep.
it'll be-
Sorry.
That's okay. And it looks like Betsy has put in a few corrections, just little things like in math, for both reading and math, just for clarification. I did not have any other changes to these either, except for that 7 o'clock minute.
Motion to approve as amended.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and the non-public for March 3rd, which were not sealed, so it's fine if they're in the packet. There's one correction that Betsy put in. Were available instead of were rewarded. And I don't know how to fix this, but we really shouldn't have said board members were reminded to send their questionnaires to the auditors in the non-public session, because it's not a non-public matter.
Yeah, it was
So-
really on the side.
We probably should put those into, well, I mean, it happened in there, but
Right.
we've got to be careful not to do that, because it doesn't belong in the non-public. So if you didn't have, I don't have any changes to those either.
Motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes
Second.
For March 3rd.
for March 3rd.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And public minutes of March 15th, the workshop.
Good meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes of March 15th.
Shane, you can second those because you were actually there.
Participation.
What's that?
Doesn't have to be there for a second.
That's true, just to vote on it. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Correspondence. Let's see, I have a few things. We received a memo from Heidi Carlson explaining the recount and what the votes were. We had a recount last evening for Articles 2 and Articles 4. Article 2, they did change a little, but not enough to have them pass. Article 2 changed from yeses 423 and noes 474. And Article 4 was yeses 446 and noes 453, which is really close. That's like 4 votes because 4 had gone the other way. But anyway, they both failed, so even after the recount, that's an official document that the board has received. I also have a memo from Irma McEachern about the teacher evaluation committee. And it's really more for, I think she's asking Greg and I to go. I don't think she's coming to the board yet,
Yes.
right? With this, okay. So Greg, I forwarded it to you.
Yeah, sorry.
And you'll have to just let Irma know if you can make it, along with a bunch of other people have to get back to her, she said. And they have provided us with the minutes to the meeting. I don't know if the whole board wants to have these or not. If you do, I can just forward them to you. It's the Teacher Effectiveness Committee and their meeting minutes.
Oh,
So I can forward them to everybody. She
Yeah.
sent them to me via email, so I
that's
will,
great, yeah.
I will forward these to the board. If I didn't already, I might have,
And,
because I do most of the time.
they're gonna be part of the minutes, right?
They won't be part of these minutes.
No?
They can.
It's a public, isn't it?
Okay, I'll give them to Sue to, I'll
I mean, it's a
forward these to school
part
board
of the
and
public
Sue.
meeting, right?
correspondence.
Yes,
Correspondence, if you don't want to do it.
I will make sure Sue gets them.
Yeah.
All right. We also have we all get the New Hampshire legislative alerts. So there's a lot of interesting things going on, which Betsy can probably take us through some of this stuff.
I was going to write a number of them into my report for next time, but if there's anything you want to know, please feel free to do so.
Well, they're talking about changing the announcement of meetings. Basically, to post a meeting, it would have to be 72 hours before instead of 24 hours before.
One of them is wonderful.
So that is going forward, it looks like. And it did say that if you don't like that, you should contact your local representative and let them know that you think this would be a real pain in the neck, basically.
No changes.
Because that 72 hours is 3 days ahead, and that, I mean, the way we plan, we change our agenda right up till the 24 hours. So we wouldn't be able to do that. Everything would have to wait another 2 weeks to go on the agenda. And then there were some interesting things about the Common Core, trying to stop the Common Core.
There's a whole bunch of them on the comment.
Yeah, a lot of, some states, more and more, I mean, it's sort of a trickle, but there are states that are taking a look at the Common Core things, like Indiana.
Indiana rejected the Common Core.
Rejected the
They have
Common
asked,
Core.
they are expected to, according to what was announced this morning, they're requiring that they will rewrite standards using the Common Core and our own state standards before school starts next year. So, yeah, I know. That was kind of my
How
thought.
about that?
Like, wow, sure.
Other than that, there's a couple charter school things. Age of minority for juveniles, changing it from 17 to 18. And then student matters being able to be discussed in non-public session, which
Yep.
I thought that was the way it should be anyway, but I wasn't aware that we had to actually have a
People do it
statute
anyway.
for that. Yeah.
They just weren't, it
Yeah.
wasn't legal.
So anyway, do you all get this, right, in the email? You will, once, I think you'll get it as soon as you go to your orientation for school board. They'll put you on the
I still
email.
don't get that.
You don't get this either?
I get the the Hampshire Municipal Association,
But not the NHS.
but not that one, I've never gotten
Well,
that. You put me in to get it, and I still don't get it.
I can have Yvonne check on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can just write to.
Yeah. I can just,
Ted Costa.
Yeah.
I just go on there
What's
and
the lady's name there?
ask her.
I can't remember. Yeah, and I can forward that, until then, I can forward them to you.
Does that come from the Ted Comstock?
Yes,
Yeah,
New Hampshire
New Hampshire
School Board
School Board
Association.
Association.
Terry Comstock is the assistant there, and they're not related. Yeah, she makes sure you know that.
I always thought they were.
They're not,
She's never told me, see, I never asked though either.
it's not like it's.
Okay, and then, let's see, oh, we also received a very nice note from Sarah Dolan, who said, I'll just read it for the record. Dear Fremont School Board members, on behalf of the Ellis School support staff, I wish to express sincere gratitude for all you have done for our groups in regards to our contract. We had agreed on a great and reasonable contract, and you supported us through the whole process. We are especially grateful that you asked for a recount of ballots from the election. It was so very close, but it is a little easier to swallow that loss, knowing the school board was in our corner. Thank you. Sarah Jane Dolan, President, Ellis School Support Staff. That's a really nice note, so, and we're very sorry it didn't pass. And that's all I had. Did you have any?
I have the one thing I did forward to you. This is from the PELRB, recognizing the certification clause, adding the title paraeducator to the ESSS certification clause. So that's all set. Completed.
Okay,
That's it.
alrighty, subcommittee reports. Policy committee did not meet. because we were in transition between members. Budget committee,
Our first meeting is the 16th of April.
really?
That's usually when it's
Is that
Friday.
really? When they get started? Once a
Well,
month?
no, it's, and then it's like summer.
Oh, okay, so just like,
Yeah.
It's the
And
organization.
changes on the budget committee? Who is on the budget committee now? Is it-
I know.
yeah, there are a lot
Mark-
of changes actually.
The only one I remember is Mark Pitt.
Neil Jandren,
Oh, yeah, Neil.
he's our old police chief, our previous
Yeah.
police chief, he's on it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Well, I'll let you know once it's.
Charlie.
Yeah, the same people that have been on it or.
I don't-
I think it's up
or
for
several.
election.
I think Tyra actually is on too, because she ran for.
Yeah,
both,
Tyra's
didn't
there.
she?
Yeah.
Didn't she run for both?
She ran
and
like
she-
Kentucky, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's still there, Argus. Yeah,
Okay.
so 3 new members, well, Tyra's not that new, she was appointed, I think, before, and now
Yeah.
she's on. So, Negotiations committee. I don't think we have much to say about that right now, although we do have something to talk about on our agenda later. Board of Selectmen's committee,
Meeting next Thursday at 6:30 is in First Selectmen. Anything that people would like me to bring forward, please let me know. School board wants me to bring forward anything to that?
can you remind them that next election, they're supposed to help count the ballots?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Because they left and didn't
Really?
help us.
Wow. Okay.
That was actually, yeah,
Still, they need to know that they have to be there.
right.
But other than that, I can't think of something I can say to them right now.
Welcome.
Except I hope they got lots of sleep that night.
Welcome.
Oh, yeah, we do have a new selectman, right? Well, Gene
Gene,
Portis, but he was the
He was
appointed.
appointed.
Board of Selectmen, right.
Mhm.
So he's no longer on the budget committee now?
I think he.
Well,
he
somebody will
think-
be the rep
He'll
to
be
the
the rep.
selection.
He thinks he'll be the rep,
Probably
is
will
what
be,
he said.
yeah, it'll probably be Gene.
I hope so.
PTA liaison, anything new?
I apologize, I forgot my notes at home, and I've had so many things go on since that meeting.
Mhm.
I've been sitting here trying to remember, and
It's coming up, I know that.
cakewalk.
That's the 5th.
Field
day.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
for the field
book
day.
fair, the
June
spring
30th.
book fair is coming up too.
The week
Babysitting
before.
class.
Who's chairing the field day?
Bridget Payne.
So did she do it last year?
No,
No?
Danielle.
Oh, hopefully
Danielle.
Danielle will be there to help her.
I think she I think they were like, I think she was transitioning though.
Mhm.
Babysitting course, you said, right?
Babysitting course is coming up.
We had a big outcome for Frozen on Friday night.
Yeah, very big.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I went, it was great, it
Mhm.
was really great, you guys.
They all came and I just sat there and watched the movie.
Great, neat.
It's this weekend.
That's good. All right, professional development liaison. There is nothing going on, so I don't believe anybody has anything to report on that. Curriculum committee?
Are we, or will we, or will we not? I know that,
Do you want to handle that now? Discussion of going forward?
I think
Or handle it
probably,
when we talk about the
yeah, I
strategic
really
plan?
think the strategic plan is when we should talk about
Okay.
that and figure out what we're gonna do.
Makes sense.
Yeah, joint board teacher committee, I met with Betsy and John and the committee, and we're just plugging along with the cleanliness of the building and a little bit of issue with supplies, but nothing that won't be fixed by having the new SAU office in place. So, nothing of any major concern, I think everything's going swimmingly. Wellness committee, I don't believe there's been no meeting.
No.
And technology committee, we reported on it already, right? The one we had, the meeting we had, or did we?
I don't think we did.
Yeah, we
We did.
Yeah, because we talked about the tech plan
did. Yeah.
and that we're using the tech plan to run our agendas, and we're going to be installing the wireless
Right.
in April vacation.
Yep.
But we had already talked about that at the last one. We haven't had another tech meeting, because those are only like quarterly that we meet. Public input. Do we have a sign-in sheet? Did anybody? Did we pass those in? Thank you. So, Sue?
Thanks.
I had a couple of notes, but I just heard something about a new SAU building, so I was just curious. So is this SAU office, is this?
With a new SAU office staff, is what I meant. Is that what you're asking, but I
You
just
said
said?
new SAU office in place, so it.
She meant.
I meant office staff
Okay.
in place,
Oh,
sorry.
I don't know if you like the town school, like,
I'm
because you were
very
talking
sorry.
about building cleanliness and then the new office, so.
Yeah, no, sorry, I
You
meant
were
with the
all
new
a
SAU
little
office staff in
surprised,
place, I
sorry.
don't believe we'll have any issues with that.
Okay. I wanted to also say thank you. I know when I went to vote, I saw you there at the polls lobbying for the contracts, and I know that it meant a lot to me as a parent, and I know I'm sure it meant a lot to the teachers and the support staff
Actually,
as
Andy
well.
and I were both there from 7:15-ish. I got there a little late with the tent, because he was calling me frantically to say,
I was there.
where's the tent and
I
the
was
table?
there.
And I'm like, it's in my car.
I was there
I'm on
at
my
4
way.
to 7, not 7:15.
Yeah, you were there early.
Well, thank
Well,
you.
I was there at 7:15,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah.
frantically calling me. But yeah, we were both
So-
there most of the day. And
Yeah.
then we had everybody come when they could.
Well, it meant a lot, I think, to the parents and the school to have that support, so thank you all for doing that. I was disappointed to see that it didn't pass, and one of my comments, I guess, and it's a question, but I know that it's not a back and forth, so you guys can address this later, but, you know, where it seems to be an ongoing pattern that we're not able to get the contracts passed, and, you know, everyone's doing everything they can, is there some other way that we can reward our teachers for the hard work that they're doing? Is there some kind of, can we put the CBA contract in the budget, or are there legal restrictions to not do that? And if there are legal restrictions that we can't do that, could we put some kind of merit-based bonus pool or incentive, something, so that when the talented people that we have that you know, are no longer getting any increase because of they're maxing out on their steps, could still be rewarded for that contribution that they're making to our children's education and to our town. So I wanted to throw that out there as a, you know, as an idea. And
I know I've asked that before as a new school board member when I first came on, and there was giggling and, you know, schnooking in the committee, but I was told no at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, the issue with that is a legal issue, and that's a no means no, and which means that legally we probably are not able to do anything beyond, you know, we can't do anything, because that would be contravening the will of the voters who voted no. I mean, that would bring out all sorts of real legal issues with the school board, unfortunately.
yeah, it'd be just interesting to, I don't know, to see if there was any kind of loophole or any kind of way that there could be some way to really, and to me, like something merit-based where you have those outstanding people who are, you know, coming in early and staying late and going above and beyond, but yet not able to, you know, see any type of reward for that. I would be interested in looking into that. The other thing that I wanted to kind of offer input on is, you know, the budget committee cut, I think it was $195,000 from the budget, and subsequent to that, it was, we got the reduced GMR back from Sanborn. My understanding with rough numbers is the reduction in the GMR is maybe $160,000, so we're looking at like a $35,000 variance where, and I just wondered, you know, where's that money from the GMR going back to? Are we replenishing the items that the BudCom cut? I would really be in support of replenishing the teacher line. I'd be in support of replenishing anything related to supplies, because I know that anytime we cut supplies, that really hits the teachers and the students directly. The equipment pieces, the computer equipment that was part of the forward planning that Carla and Superintendent had worked so hard on to try to have some kind of strategic plan. So I just wanted to mention that that's things that I'm hoping, as you discuss this later, that you can take that into consideration. The last thing that I well, I can't say last because there was something else that I'm forgetting and I'm hoping it'll come back to me before I finish. One other thing that I wanted to mention is when I saw the recommendation, and having the packet was really great, so thank you guys so much for voting that in at the last meeting. I saw the recommendation with regard to the classes for next year, and I'm definitely an advocate for keeping our student-teacher ratios consistent, and I could see that that was being taken into account with the recommendations that the superintendent brought forward. We can't predict what's going to happen over the summer with kindergarten enrollment, but if we do end up having 20 students in kindergarten and we do end up having 2 kindergarten classes, that potentially frees up a teacher's salary, it potentially frees up a classroom, and those were some of the things that were preventing us from having foreign language at Ellis. And I know that there's also scheduling issues that need to be worked out, but I mean other middle schools are doing it, so they've got to be workable. They've got to be something that's a challenge. I think that we can, if we have the right environment and we have the space and we have the budget for it, that we should be able to handle the logistics piece. So I'd love to not close the door on that for next year's class if we could. Keep that as a consideration. And so I just wanted to mention that. And my other thought didn't come back to me, so that was it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Don, Kid, did you want to say something?
How did I get up to that point in the list? I thought I was at the
Nobody else
bottom
checked
there.
off. Nobody else checked off that they wanted to talk.
I
but
didn't
you and
realize
Sue.
I had checked it off. I wasn't, that's all right. I wasn't planning on saying anything, but thank you for putting me on the spot. No. I know we had talked in the meeting the other day. Obviously, we had a meeting with the FEA and you guys, and we thanked you, and we did appreciate the fact that you were standing out front and all those things. And so maybe I just need to say it publicly so that it's on camera. We do appreciate it, and I think the big difference this year is staff members feeling that and knowing that you guys were behind us, and therefore there is not that negativity or there's more positivity, that sort of thing. We're still hoping to make something happen at some point, someday. It obviously can't keep going the way that it's going. But thank you for doing what you could, and it was nice to also see the budget committee support it this year too, so I'd like to thank them as well. That's it.
Thank you. We also received 5 emails supporting a foreign language teacher that came in today that the board all saw, and I will have them added to the minutes to the meeting. Angela O'Connell asked me to read hers to the board as a public input, so I will do that. I can find it. Okay. Below is a letter that I would request be read at the school board session on Tuesday, March 25th during the public input session. I apologize that I'm not there in person to make the following statements, but wanted to share some thoughts. First of all, I want to acknowledge and thank you for working with the community and the PTA liaison. The posting of the agenda packet before speaks to the topics of the meeting during the public input session of the meeting. I know what she's trying to say there. It also allows others who would like to participate in the meeting but are unable to an opportunity to comment on the topics. Secondly, I want to thank you for supporting and working so hard on trying to get the teacher and support staff contract passed. I hope that as a board you will continue to brainstorm on ways in which we can partner with the staff at Ellis that shows we value their skills, effort, and dedication while we work to pass a contract in the near future. Lastly, I want to offer some thoughts on the possibility of adding foreign language to Ellis. I was involved in the curriculum committee and surveys that went out to the community, parents, and staff. Foreign language was the topic that received the most support of any topic on the survey. 87% of the respondents supported foreign language, and 71% supported Spanish to be the language. At this time, with the low enrollment projected in kindergarten and first grade, it appears that there may be an opportunity to add a foreign language class teacher while still maintaining our low teacher-student ratios. These low ratios, which enables more time to meet student needs and support RTI, new treasures programs, etc., appear to be an asset in improving the students' achievements and test scores. At a minimum, it would be great to get foreign language started with the middle school students. This would enable them, when they enter high school, with the students from Kingston and Newton to be on the same level starting field. For many colleges, it is mandatory that students take 4 years of language before entering college. If students begin to take foreign language classes in middle school, it would also enable them to meet this requirement and allow additional time to take other classes in their high school years. It would also be ideal to start subjecting the elementary students to foreign language as well. There are so many possibilities that may work with this young age. A once-a-week special, a virtual learning lab oversaw by the foreign language teacher, after-school programs, etc. We just need to be creative in how we bring the resource to them. With the changing environment of our world and community, foreign language is becoming a must-have instead of a nice-to-have. Offering this to our children will benefit them now and in the future. Just think of how many adults had computer class in school. Now they start in kindergarten or younger. We need to be proactive instead of reactive to best prepare our students and children to be effective, meaningful contributors tomorrow. Thank you, Angela O'Connell, Gristmill Road, Fremont. So that's what we have for public input. Okay, information items, employee evaluation history. So you asked me, I think, at one of the meetings for a list, right?
Right.
And Betsy has provided that to us.
I do have some questions.
Okay.
Questions about the process. There's people, looks like there's.
Should we go to that on the screen? Or
I don't
tell me
know.
not to?
Put their
Would it be
names on
worth, would it be
It
worth,
should be in the new packet.
Yeah, it's in the package.
It's not there?
All right.
would it be worth decoding what red and green means?
Brad, that's what I was just gonna ask.
That
the one
It look-
was only the changes.
Oh, there's
okay.
the other one, that one.
Where's the other one?
I think it's right before
She
that.
had crash on the computer.
Oh,
and we had
oh,
to-
But could you, if you want to eject that stick, go to your computer and
Then
pull
pull
off
it
the
up,
original
okay.
packet, if
Yeah.
you could do that, that would be great.
Yeah.
Alright.
Could you just,
Yeah, we can just recess for a few seconds or chat.
yeah.
I guess we could chat about it while we're.
Yeah, we can
waiting.
talk about it.
Yeah. It is quite, now, it looks like, is this a, it's a three-step
Wait a
process?
minute, whoa.
Alright.
You didn't do it.
I did?
No, you
No, I
didn't.
didn't. Oh.
You're supposed to get in the.
Go ahead, see if it's,
I thought I did.
yeah, no, you gotta push, you
No, it
gotta
said
click on
remote.
eject.
It said, oh.
You have to click on eject first. New lesson is out there. Uneject stick. Okay, anyway, you were asking.
Question.
Sure.
Is it a three-step process, observation, goals, observation, and then evaluation?
No, no,
Okay.
what this is evaluations for summatives, which is the end of a three-year, usually the end of a three-year cycle, but I can't speak to that on all of these, which is observations now and then one time when they sit down and they go through a full summative evaluation, usually done typically in most school districts once every 3 years on the certification cycle. Observations, those people who have only had observations and that is all we have of them at this point, as the latest thing that has happened,
Mhm.
are in red. They may have had summatives before then, but the latest thing that we have is just the observation. So they may be up for summative next year, or in green, if it was the last time that they had met on the job, it was their annual goals review,
Right.
which they sat with their supervisor.
Oh, it's the annual goals review.
Yes.
Set goals.
No, that's the annual goals review.
Okay,
Yes, goals are set in the fall.
good. That's what I was concerned.
Yeah.
They wait 6 months to set.
And the expectation is for those that do not have dates here, that they will be completed by the end of the fiscal year.
Right, so, then my understanding is that everybody should have either an observation or an evaluation that's a year, just, and we have some.
Within 3 years, they should have a summative.
You're right, but we have some people here who were observed in 2012.
Well, it depends on their job, too. But you are correct, that is the expectation, and I have let the administration know that before June 30th, I expect these to be updated.
Right, and we got someone here with an evaluation in 2010.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
And there should be at least an observation between now and then,
Absolutely,
and there hasn't been.
Yeah. that's gonna change.
Well, see, my concern is that, number one, we were told that, repeatedly that they were on top of this, and that everything was being done, everything was, that they were doing them. And apparently it hasn't been done. The second
Which leads
thing.
me to my request.
Yeah, the second thing that I am concerned about is that you know, we've had to RIF teachers, and without the evaluations in place, you know, we've unfortunately had to base it totally on seniority. And if it comes again, you know, if we don't get these things up to date, we may be forced into the same situation in the spring if we have to
Absolutely.
RIF a teacher, and,
Mhm.
I mean, that to me is not acceptable.
And that's why we're bringing them up to speed.
And I was gonna ask Betsy, if maybe maybe once a month, when this is updated, because it would be ongoing that it's
Okay.
updated, maybe we have this in our packet.
Okay.
Just as it kind of keeps it in the
Watch for a
forefront,
while.
kind of like enrollment,
Yep.
where we just see it so that we know that things are being taken care of and
Okay.
people are getting their evals done.
What we can do along with that is we can put an asterisk next to any one that is updated,
Mhm.
so that you can
That'd be
quickly
great.
look down the list.
Without us having to,
Yeah.
compare the two.
And you could, I mean, it'd be nice to have two separate lists of teachers and then the support staff, because their evaluations are in different cycles.
That's correct. So we'll put their position.
Right.
Any particular reason why someone wouldn't have been evaluated since 2008? And how was that questioned, or was it explained? I mean, is there something that I'm missing?
I didn't specifically ask.
Because that's
I wasn't here, so I
Yeah,
can't speak to it,
obviously,
but I didn't specifically ask.
I think some of this goes to non-public because you're asking about somebody's
Well,
performance.
that's, yeah.
So, meaning
Okay.
somebody's performance on who's supposed to be doing some of these things. So
Right.
it might be helpful to talk about that in non-public and
Sure.
maybe get our concerns addressed.
Sure.
And I just want to explain that the reason why there's only one date on here instead of a series of dates for the last time is that if the board were to see someone with a large number, that would be an obvious indication of someone on an improvement plan. So I can't allow the board to see that. You can see the last one, but you can't see the series.
Oh,
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you, this is good, and maybe just to keep it in the forefront by seeing the updated. And that way we're not being told one thing and seeing something different later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you put it back in?
I did.
Well,
Okay.
I probably
So
can't see it because
we
you
can talk about this without. Betsy wants to.
Yeah.
The New Hampshire School Board Association upcoming training, I hope everybody can make it. Concord is the closest place, and it's April 29th, Tuesday, April 29th. Registration starts at 5 o'clock, I think, yes, yeah. Is everybody able to make it?
Yes.
What time is it?
It's a Tuesday,
Oh, yeah.
April 29th, it's up in Concord.
I can make it.
I can drive the car.
It starts at 5.
Yeah, and you can either go online and register, or it's up to you, Sue, how would you like us to do this? Because it's a $45 fee. So.
If everybody's planning to go, we could do one group.
One purchase
One
order.
purchase order
for you.
Okay,
I'll go.
Thank you.
so I filled this out, this is my registration.
Okay. And you're all going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will you register them, Sue, or should?
Yeah, I
they-
can
okay.
have
We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
good,
We
yeah.
have, so we don't have a school board meeting that night? I have it written in as a school board meeting night.
What's the
April,
date?
what date?
29th?
Yeah, there would be.
There is a school board meeting.
I don't have it in my calendar.
No, yeah.
Oh.
Because it's the week of vacation is the week
That's right,
before
the
then,
week
so
before
we
that.
have moved,
Ah.
we have moved it.
Oh, we're gonna have to move it again,
Yeah,
because we need to go to
We
this
need-
training.
Okay.
we move it to the Monday.
April 28th, I can do that, I
can
don't
do
know if
that.
everybody else can.
I don't mind it.
Once in a while. I have it, mine's clear.
Yeah, for April 28th?
Yeah.
Can you do a Monday night,
I can do it. Yeah.
6:30?
I'll just be coming back from Maryland.
You just drive right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so school board meeting, we'll have to post that too, as a change on the website.
Yep.
Great. There is another seminar, and it's a superintendent evaluation. It's gonna be held May 14th at the same place in Concord. We need to do a new superintendent eval form, remember? We've been saying that we take that form. So, it's at 6:30 to 8:30,
And there,
May 14th. I've already registered for that one.
do we have to pay for that?
It's 45, yeah. So we probably need another PO.
So if
Depending on
how many
who's
people
going.
go?
I mean, I paid for my own, but,
Okay.
any, you know, so you guys can turn in, just let Sue know if you can go.
I can go.
So 1, 2, 3 so far?
Yes.
4, Andy?
I can go, yeah.
5, so they're all gonna go to the
Again.
eval.
Okay.
1.
It's another $45 a
Is
week.
it the same place in each?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll give me the form, is that the form?
It's
It's in
it's
the
online.
Okay.
It's online.
Okay.
I looked it up on their
Oh, it is,
on
it's
their-
online?
Yeah.
So it's a superintendent evaluation.
Evaluation.
Yeah, and it's May 14th. It's under their learning series or something, workshops or whatever they have, and I found it there.
When was that?
May 14th, 6:30 to 8:30 in Concord. Park Drive. Okay, so that's that. So I guess we're gonna go into non-public next. And I need a motion to go into non-public for, regarding employee compensation, RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2A.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Yeah.
So
It's
Brian,
Aye.
it's your name, yeah, I'm messing with it. Raise eye.
Okay.
Keen, aye.
Kit, aye.
Over,
All right, so we're going to.
Try to go first each time.
Well, that's good, that we're running right to go first.
Okay,
Sorry,
yes,
that's
we-
what I hope you would.
Here is that one.
You're not the same register.
Unless it-
No. Shannon, you know, I'm related to Bryant.
Oh, yeah.
Probably different family altogether.
Well, my Bryant's came from Haverhill.
My
I'm
Bryant,
actually a ward from Epsom.
oh really? My Bryant came from the Pittsfield area.
I don't have any of that.
I have some cousins up in Pittsfield.
Yeah.
Marty's.
Really? Indeed, they were,
Martin's.
yeah, I mean, I don't have any, but it was like
Get on the last one.
my grandfather, no, my great-grandfather.
It's not showing
No,
up.
my grandmother was a Bryant, and her father was a Bryant. So we were kind
And then I'm
of
saving your
many
number.
years.
It is showing up.
Family trees are interesting.
Yeah, they are.
Ancestry.com.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
All right.
It's amazing.
Mine uncle traced like her basement side
No,
back. Yeah, it is.
My mother used to work for Vital Records, so she, like,
Oh.
public figures, and she does their.
Oh.
And it started to share, she has a friend in California, and every time she sends us something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's million.
I interviewed him, like, oh, wow, that's two so far.
Oh, wow.
Stop sending him stuff.
Fast cooking we got going on.
Yeah, well.
Michael found out what we were doing.
Okay, so,
Three people.
Yep.
is it on? Oh, okay, we're back in, we're back in public session, and we did vote on the list of nominations and approve the nomination list that Betsy gave us. And it's a personnel list, so we're not gonna be divulging anything today. And I would like a motion to seal the minutes indefinitely.
Motion to seal minutes indefinitely.
Second?
Roll call for that.
Brian, aye.
Brady's eye.
Keen, aye.
Kid eye.
Roll for
Write
I.
it down here.
That was the last one.
So, on to action items. The FEA petition request for revote, and we are combining that with the discussion of the failure of the contracts. So we can have everything together. All right. In the packet, it's explains that on Thursday, March 20th, the school board met with the FEA representatives and the superintendent. Andy and I met basically with them and the superintendent. And the FEA had asked the board to consider joining them in a petition to the Superior Court to request an emergency special meeting for the purpose of revoting on the FEA contract. And the emergency is that they really haven't had a contract for 6 years. And if we were to do that, we would, and it was approved that we could have a special meeting, the cost would be about $5,000 is what we've often figured out as we look at what it costs to do an SB2 meeting. And after we met with them, I spoke to the attorney, Peter Phillips, and he's on vacation this week. I talked to him Friday, because I think we met Friday. Did we meet Friday?
Thursday.
We met Thursday, I talked to him Friday, he called me back Friday, and he was leaving for vacation to St. Thomas with his wife, a very well-deserved vacation after the long, he had a ton of negotiations he was working on, so he was looking forward to his week off. And he asked if he could talk to Jay Dwyer after he gets back from vacation. That's what he had asked. Because he had looked at the law. We had a question because the voters said no. And they said no on Article 2, and then they said no on a special meeting to revisit the cost items. So we weren't sure if that meant we couldn't ask even for a special meeting. And we were trying to get our attorney to tell us. So he's not sure still under the RSAs that he's reading whether or not that's actually possible to do that, and he wants to see what Jay Dwyer's. I think he thinks it was Jay that.
Because Jay has some history to share.
Yeah. So he asked if we could just table it and wait until he gets back from vacation and can speak to Jay Dwyer on the issue.
I'll make a motion to table it till the next school board meeting.
Second?
Okay. All those, any discussion?
Sorry, I
Or
feel bad.
clarifications?
Well, I feel bad if you have to wait, but it's I think we'll get in trouble.
Yeah, we need to get a legal opinion.
Yeah.
This is, you know, I mean, like when you go to these trainings, they say no means no. We need to make sure that.
Peter, he also was not sure who could file the petition. He said, I think the school board has to file a petition, not the teacher, the FEA, but that's why he really wants to clarify with Jay. So, you know, I think whether we do it in a week or we do it today, I don't think it's gonna make a whole lot of difference. So.
Just keep out to it. I feel bad, but I think that's what we're doing.
So, anybody else have any discussion or clarification? Do you need any clarification, Shannon?
No,
Do you understand
sure
this?
it's very important.
Okay.
So you can tell us that.
Okay. So all those in favor of tabling it for now until Peter gets back from vacation?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And discussion of the
So just
failure.
clarify then, so our next meeting, we should be able to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll have an answer from Peter by then. The other discussion of the failure of the contract, and I'll just read what Betsy has here. With the vote on the 2 collective bargaining agreements yet to be recounted, well, they happen now. The board needs to be updated on present activities surrounding the contracts. If the board wishes to discuss strategy regarding either or both CBAs, this discussion must be held in a non-meeting, which can be done either before or after a regular session. Okay?
We can't discuss it.
The only thing we can discuss is
General
what,
comments. You can make general comments if you like, but if you're going to talk strategy at all, it's a non-meeting.
Well, the one general comment I would like to make is the fact that the town also suffered the vote. A number of street projects that were on, that were desperate, like Whittier Drive was voted down. So it wasn't, people just.
You didn't take it personally.
It wasn't specific, I really don't believe it specifically had to do with the teachers' contracts, because, you know, the town also, you know, is gonna, I don't know what they're gonna do, they have no idea what they're gonna do with these roads. And every year they get farther behind, so it was a general, I mean, it was something that permeated both the vote for the school issues, school warrants, and the town warrants.
In general, I would just like to say that I think that, I know I'm disappointed in the voters and their inability to see, especially the teacher's contract, how much we could have saved. We're now paying an insurance premium with no additional benefits instead of giving our teachers a raise, which is what this contract would have done. And it's unfortunate that the voters did not understand that well enough to make the right choice, in my opinion. And we sent out 2 mailings that described that, and we stood there and talked to whoever would talk to us.
You even mentioned the evergreen implications, which could mean more money somewhere, so, yeah.
So I'm just disappointed that these contracts, which were very good contracts, didn't occur, because I really think it was, it defies logic to think that you would vote no on something that would actually save the district money in the long run, and also give our teachers a raise with the kind of test scores we had. And those were all right there for them to see. So it was close, we almost did it, but I'm disappointed that the town voted no on those.
So I'm disappointed about all that, but also the number of votes to just weren't cast, because we go through all the ballots, there's just a bunch of blank ballots. People voted no on like just the budget, then skipped everything else. Disappointing.
Well, I don't know, I mean, I'm not gonna criticize the voters, voted for what they voted for, you know, that's just the way it works out. And I think in our strategy session, we'll have to figure out, you know, what other ways we can do to get these things passed. Teachers been out of contract for quite a while, so what can we do?
Right.
So.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything they want to say about that? No? Okay. So, non-CBA employee nomination.
We've
So
done
we
that.
did that.
Yep.
Nominations for school district clerk we did. Setting fiscal year 15 teaching positions.
What page is that on?
23?
23?
Okay.
Yep.
Just passed it.
This is about pretty much the reduction in force for one teacher, right, Betsy?
Correct, correct. And the budget committee that cut that position as well,
Mhm.
so.
All right.
At this time, I had JR send me an update today. There are 26 students registered for kindergarten, 2 students who are in process, and the potential of 4 students for retention. And
Retention in kindergarten?
Yeah, and I'm in discussion with, I'm gonna have to sit down with kindergarten and John and JR to talk about the retentions. I'm not a proponent of retention. The research is not behind it, and they're more than likely to drop out in high school if they're retained. It doubles the chances of dropout, among a whole pile of other issues. But I wanted to hear them out, see what they have to say, talk with them about the data that they have on the students' progress, what interventions have been tried before, I would make any decisions. That being, it would max out then at 32 at this point, which is 16 per classroom for a 2 class, and that's acceptable. So I would recommend that we stay with the 2 positions, but not make any changes regarding anything else in case we have to hire again. We'd have to find some money to do it, but I think we're on the edge. So that would be my recommendation.
So meaning, do you recommend we go against possibly taking that open slot and doing a foreign language teacher?
Not at this time. You know, if we get 3 or 4 more students in kindergarten, you're going to want to consider seriously having a 3rd kindergarten teacher.
So what's the magic number in kindergarten? You want to
Your
18 per class?
17 max would be my preference. The board, I think, needs to make some decisions and set a policy, basically. It's one of the policy committee items I want to bring forward, is to make a policy on class size for the board that allows you to bring it to the budget committee so that it's policy. and have that discussion among yourselves as to what you see as acceptable.
I mean, like I said, it all depends on your teacher. I mean, I hate to set a policy on class size when you have, I mean,
You can always overrule your policy.
yeah,
It's a general guideline.
Yeah, I just have problems with that. I mean, I really do. I mean,
Well, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Right now, though, what Betsy's recommending is based upon the enrollment data included in the packet and the research on class size. She recommends a reduction of one classroom position for the fiscal year 15 school year. These would be one kindergarten position resulting in 2 kindergarten classes. Should the enrollment rise, a 3rd section of kindergarten can be added. That's her recommendation.
Right.
So we spoke last year about trying to do foreign language this coming year. If we, when will we start planning for that? We want to try to do it.
Well, I would like the board to consider making sure that the core classes that you offer are up to your standard. You don't have a science lab. You can have a teacher, you can have a science lab. What do you choose? Those are things that I would put before the board before I'd ask you to make the decision about a foreign language
So
teacher.
what date does that mean? You decided by the end of April, end of June? When do you have to have those decisions by?
You can hire the day before school starts. You can hire after school starts. It's not preferable, but I think we need to look at the unexpended fund balance at the end of the year. The board needs to prioritize what it wants, and if the board wants a foreign language teacher, we'll have to find the money for it. But we still also have to consider whether or not we would get more kindergarten kids over the summer.
And so one of the things we hit last year, I thought, was we were too late in the process to try to do a foreign language teacher last year. So held up. I don't want to get too late in the process. I don't want that go yet again too late. So I'm just looking at that magic date that we should have our decision by.
How about next meeting, we're gonna go over the budget full force? I mean, I hope that gives everybody enough time to look at it piece by piece. And why don't we look and see if we can take care of the things that are our priorities? And we talked a lot of the strategic planning. I mean, we did set some goals and made specific recommendations and goals, and STEM was one of them, and so was foreign language, and so was music. So I think we need to really go hard at the budget and see where we have the money. Now, remember, the kindergarten teacher has been cut by the BudCom, so that's not in that line right now. And yes, we do have some savings in the GMR, so that's the kind of number crunching we're gonna have to do to figure out what we wanna do with the money we have in the budget.
Do we have the final GMR from the SAM board? When is that?
No, not yet. And also remember that we cut the ghost students to 2. You normally have 8. So we are cutting close.
Last year we didn't know how much money, we were under the impression that we didn't have much money left to spend, but we sent it back, brought back town. When do we know how much we have?
That's why last month when we met, I spoke, it was earlier this month, when we met, I mentioned that the budget process is that everything is frozen as of April 1st.
Right.
So at that point, we're going to be continuing to make sure that the POs are closing out that we have, and we might have a rough guess by the April 8th meeting, but definitely by the 29th.
And so by the 29th, we should
Of April.
We'll know what's left in this year's budget.
Yes.
And will we have the GMR from SAM?
I'm
You
not sure when they
mean
released
the
that.
actual, right?
Yeah,
You
we
don't
got
mean the
actual.
GMR.
Yeah, actual.
Right.
I thought it was, I'm not sure, I think it was mid to late April, but we're not really sure.
We'll check.
Yeah,
We'll check.
we can
Because those are
probably
the key
ask
things
if
we
It
need
would be
to-
very helpful if we
I
knew.
don't know.
Those are the key things we need to see what we can afford and can't afford.
And the other thing to keep in mind, we also haven't received our final number from Health Trust.
Right.
That was
On the
a,
total rate.
That was an estimate. The
As well.
9.2% was a GMR.
That was the
and
top.
that should be, I would think no later than May 1st, that should actually be coming.
Could I ask a
So there might be
question
savings
on,
there too.
on the
So
kindergarten?
end of
part?
April's budget.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Waiting for Wanda to finish.
Kindergarten,
Yeah.
from when you did the estimates 20, then today, I think you said today, that they gave you numbers of 26.
Right.
And we're making a decision today? Are you looking for a decision today on taking action on this? So I guess, okay, if you are, what happens if, you know, we're at the end of April, and all of a sudden, we're at that again? What do we do? I mean, do we go back and vote again to put it back in, so?
Let me
or
tell you
if-
why the decision has to be made. By
Okay.
April 15th, under the law, a teacher has to know whether or not they're being renewed. So you could wait until April 8th, and that's fine. I just have to know before April 15th. That's fine.
But if we decided to reduce kindergarten teacher, that doesn't mean we're limiting the spot, that we still have to the end of the month to figure out what we're doing, the money's still there.
The money's gone, the budget committee cut
The
it.
money's gone, that's right, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
all right,
For that particular position.
yeah, I forgot.
And if it's middle of summer, we make a decision, because you really don't know, I mean, because that's a lot of time, just by when you wrote this, and then that
It's-
6 extra
It
students,
could change
right?
significantly, but because we have that legal line in the sand,
Right, yeah.
we have to make a decision. We are either
Okay.
going to keep the teacher, or we're going to, the position, or we're going to let the position go.
Mhm.
And so the board needs to make that decision by April 8th at that meeting. You don't have to make it tonight. You can wait for more data.
Now, the other question I have is that you really feel with because of the students, the student makeup in the first grade, that teachers really couldn't handle a classroom of 16 kids?
The issue in the first grade, as I explained, was the special education needs.
Right.
And that based upon what I was told, and granted I didn't see the IEPs, but based upon the number of adults that need to be there to help and the needs of the children, I would recommend that you stay with
But
3.
if you have extra adults in the room to help with the children, then why can't they have bigger classes? Why can't the teachers handle bigger classes?
Probably because in first grade, if you, well, no, those are newer
Because they're
classrooms.
having-
I was thinking of our older classrooms where there's like not enough room for kids and a
Yeah,
bunch
I mean, they're gonna have
for
extra
parents.
Yeah, but there's
paras
still,
in the room, so, I mean, so to help out with those students, so why can't they handle?
I think the
16
teacher
students.
is still responsible for each and every student, and the para is there just to help implement or help keep them on task or whatever, you know, everyone's different. But that teacher is still responsible for each and every child in that class.
If you're looking at a child who has a one-to-one paraprofessional who is unable to control themselves oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, they're included as best they can be in the classroom as much as possible. It becomes, you have to consider the needs of having 2 adults, a child who will need to be removed off and on, and students, 2 or 3 students who are particularly needy and need the adult in the classroom. So you have 3 adults in the classroom, 1 child who has a behavior issue, 3 children with academic concerns that have to require an adult speaking and working with them. You get into a confusing situation, and it makes it difficult for the regular ed kids to be able to learn from their teacher. So you do have to kind of spread that out. That's why.
We've also been trying to keep those class sizes small and to bring student achievement up. I mean, so we're not, I mean, what are you saying?
Well, this is my issue
What would
about
the
knowing
sub-
how quality of teachers we have, because you put a quality teacher in those classrooms, they could probably do a good job. I mean, they've shown that, I've read the studies, they put quality teachers in classrooms of 25 or more, and they've seen an improvement in student performance. So
there's gonna be 10 students per first grade class?
yes, 10, 10,
There's
10,
For
11.
every
30.
teacher?
10, 10, and 11.
That's very
Yeah,
low.
it's the same as it is
The
now.
budget committee's gonna
10,
cut that,
11, I
they're
think
gonna
it's
cut that
32.
position, I can guarantee you.
Based upon the recommendations and what I've been told, that would be my recommendation. The board can choose to do what it chooses to. You can always hire back if you need to. It becomes more disruptive to the building the more changes you make, because you give a teacher an assignment, they go home for the summer, expecting to be able to come back to that position as it is. And so
Yeah,
You know,
10 kids to a classroom, that's really.
it is tough, and my first response was I couldn't support it. But when I got the information, I felt that it was the right thing to do.
So if we waited to the April 8th meeting, particularly for the kindergarten members, it's not gonna be any negative impact for you, particularly?
What is not going
If we didn't decide on kindergarten until April 8th?
You don't have to, no. I just need to know
Same thing
before
for
the 15th.
first grade then?
That's correct. Yeah. You can make those, and you can ask for more information. Is there some more information you'd like to have for me to bring to that meeting? Please, if that's what you want to do.
Does the retentions impact the first grade number?
The retentions,
If you're retaining 4 in kindergarten, would first grade enrollment go down by 4?
they will, they will.
So you're saying if, so this 31 you're talking about is assuming that there's gonna be no retentions in kindergarten?
That's correct.
So if there's 4 retentions in kindergarten,
Then I would drop it to 2. We
Yeah.
have to settle that.
They have to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
Those kids.
Right.
How about this? I would entertain a motion to table this till the next meeting, and ask for the number of IEPs in first grade.
Can I make a suggestion?
Is that okay to ask that question?
Can I make a suggestion? Why don't you ask Sarah to be here?
all right,
And she can, in non-public, she can discuss it with
all
her.
right, that sounds like a
Perfect.
good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
So I'd entertain a motion to table this until the next meeting.
So,
Second.
Any other discussion or questions that you want Betsy to answer? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Addition of early release days to the 2014-2015 calendar, which we just forgot to put in, so.
Yeah, my fault, my mea culpa.
So I'd like to, did everybody get a chance to look at them?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in line with.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that,
Yeah.
that's
Just-
fine.
Need a motion to amend the calendar?
Motion to amend the calendar.
second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Acceptance of technology donation. Mr. Ray LaChance would like to donate a 37-inch Samsung flat screen. Maybe it's a Samsung, I don't know.
That's what was on the
Okay,
email.
Sansui, flat screen TV and DVD player to the Ellis School, and we would like to, Betsy would like to recommend we accept this donation.
Now, is this a digital HD TV or is it?
What, do you want it?
No, just, I mean, if it's not, then you can't.
I asked Carla, as I always do with technology, to ask if it was up to her standard. She said it was.
Right.
Right. Could we not have accepted this, we didn't have that article?
I'm sorry?
Could we not have accepted this, we didn't have that article that passed?
That's why money.
Oh.
That's why.
So a motion,
Kind of donation.
do I have a motion to accept the 37-inch TV and thank Mr. Ray LaChance for his donation?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. LaChance.
Thank you.
Resignation of paraprofessionals. And we've been asked to accept both resignations. And is I just need a motion.
Motion to accept the resignations?
Second.
Any discussion? I have just one question. Do we do exit interviews for the people? Do you actually meet with them, Betsy, and find out?
No, in fact, one of them left before I even knew about
Yeah.
it. Both of them left for higher paying positions.
Okay.
Is that what
Not
was
in,
advised
not
to you,
in,
or?
not in the business, though. One moved out of the business into a different
Yeah,
position.
he went to work with,
Yeah, I saw that.
And the other one also went to a job that was a different position as well, that's my understanding. I did get that information.
Would you be comfortable doing an exit interview?
Absolutely, absolutely.
she'll
And
be here till Friday.
It's, yeah, I can make sure that I do that.
I just, the public asked us to do that.
Yeah.
The last time we had a big group here, they said, are you doing exit interviews? And even with students that leave the district, are we doing exit interviews with the parents? So, yeah. So I would
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the board would think that would be a
I'd
good
support
idea.
that.
Yeah. And I will see if I can make contact with the other person as well.
Yeah, they will not come in.
Do a I'll do
Or telephone, yeah.
telephone interview.
Yeah,
Just need to pull up a good exit interview format.
all right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Review of fiscal year 15 budget, we have tabled. Discussion of, we already did, establishment of a grant writing committee. Bless you. Okay. With the passage of Article 8, the district is now in a position to apply for and accept grants. Therefore, it's advisable to establish and charge a grant writing committee to seek out and apply for the school board's supported grants. So I took it upon myself to write a little charge for a grant writing committee that I stole off of somebody else's site, honestly. I did not make this up myself. But it basically, and it was off of the Brockton Public School website, so I want to be full disclosure.
There you go.
No plagiarism here. The grant writing committee shall work throughout the year to identify and apply for grants that support Ellis School, our goals, and our strategic plan. There are many funds available for public schools from foundations and grants. Finding them and applying for them is the purpose of this committee.
The only, now, the way that reads is, it's like, the grant committee goes out and they decide what grants to apply for or not. Now, the question is do we want to have something, like a caveat in there that, for the school board to give direction what to emphasize, or are we just going to say, go out and, whatever is available, apply for it? I mean, do we want to emphasize STEM, do we want to emphasize?
The strategic, what according to
Yeah.
the strategic plan is
Yeah.
really the emphasis.
All right.
So it would, appear to me that whatever was in the strategic plan would be
Right.
something that the board would support when it comes along.
All right.
Wouldn't want to close your eyes to something because you're looking for something else.
Right.
The grants come up, I mean, you don't have the opportunity to come in to the school board and say, I want to apply for this, I want to apply for that, because they come up a lot of times with 30-day
Yeah.
windows, you don't have a lot of time.
But if you're following the strategic plan, like that charge says,
All right.
that would be the point.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice charge.
I can't take credit for it. I just changed it a little to match our goals.
And put Brockton Public Schools.
Thank you, Brian.
So, anyway, we would need to make a motion to establish a grant writing committee with this charge that I just read.
I'll make a motion to establish the grant writing committee with that charge.
Second.
Any discussion? The only other thing we want to clarify is who that will be made up of. I think we had originally said we wanted a school board member, the superintendent, a parent, a PTA member, a teacher. So, I don't know if that's,
Yeah.
you think that's,
I think it should.
and I know 3 people from the board. Can we have 3 people on a committee? As long as they're not making a board decision?
I mean, I don't have to be on
You don't have to be on
it. I think Tammy has expressed a desire to,
it. Well, Shannon was interested.
oh, Shannon too, oh,
Yeah.
Shannon, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Oh, so the 3 of you wouldn't mind, because, okay,
No, I wouldn't mind not being on it.
all right, so, anyway.
If
If that sounds right, then I think we would just put it in the 2 board members' hands and then let you guys run with getting a committee together and so. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make it so.
Very good. Let's get some money.
It's exciting.
Yeah, isn't it?
Planning for a new strategic plan.
No, that's,
I know. I just couldn't find a better way to state it. I tried.
Okay.
that's with all the focus groups that we're talking about, right?
Well, I actually, basically what we're trying to decide is we went to the workshop, we did look at our old strategic plan, and we did set some goals for what we need to finish up with that and how to do it. And Mark sent me a very nice write-up.
I haven't had a chance to look at it.
I think I forwarded it. Did I? Okay, I will.
Yeah,
I just got it. So, I will forward that to everybody because it was a very good write-up, I thought. And he really did kind of, he even made a new chart for us to follow and check off and things like that. So, I will send this to all of you guys. And so we need to decide, do we wanna once, we're gonna be completing that as time rolls along, we're gonna complete what's left of our old strategic plan. But do we want to hire him on to do a full strategic plan for us, a new one?
I think that would be a good thing to do.
I think the guidance would be great. Definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so then we would need a strategic planning committee, which we would have to create, we would have to charge a committee to do this. He would recommend that it be made up of, I think he said, it would be comprised of a superintendent, the school leaders and staff, school board members, up to 2, SAU personnel, parents, students, and community members. That's who would be on the strategic plan. And of course, he would set up the focus groups and all of that himself, like they did for the last time we did it. We had a facilitator who did all that for us. So if that's what we'd like to do, he did give us a sample charge for a school district strategic planning committee. I think what I would do is I might want to send this to all of you, let you look at it, and the next meeting, we could fill in the blanks,
Yeah.
and we could do that committee, if that's what the board chooses. But at least you'll be able to read everything through first before you make that decision.
Well, I think,
And
yeah, go ahead.
No, I just got it, so I want to get it up.
I mean, one issue with the current strategic plan is that everything's changed. You know, school sizes change, school building needs have changed, curriculum has changed, direction of education has changed. I mean, it really, in many ways, it's already out of date. So, I mean, that's why, I certainly support moving forward with a new strategic plan, because we really need to look at something. I think that the demographics in the town are nothing like they predicted.
Right.
And I don't think they ever will be. I think that the demographics of the country are changing, and I think the town is reflecting that. So, but I think the other thing about the need to move forward with a new strategic plan is that we really need to take a look at the building. And we really need to come to a firm decision as to whether we want to keep it what we've got, or whether we want to make some drastic changes and improvements. And I think, using the strategic plan to really take a look at that. The last strategic plan, it really didn't say, it sort of said, well, if you did this, then it'd be this. It didn't really say yes or no, we need a new building. Yes, it didn't make an absolute decision as to whether you're going to move forward with it or not, or whether, it just said,
I think
well,
it recommended a long-range facility planning committee.
Right.
And they were charged with
right,
looking at the future of this,
Right.
of what was going to
Right.
happen demographically.
Right.
And unfortunately, what they thought was going to happen demographically.
Didn't
is
happen.
Not like
No, it
that.
didn't happen. I mean, they predicted 50 babies a year would be born, or what, 15 this year? So, but I think we need to get focused on that. We need to make a decision soon as to what we're gonna do with the building we have, and whether we're gonna move forward with either a rehab, a major rehab, or we're gonna move forward with a new building. Like I said, a number of times we've got a bunch of bond issues that are gonna be expiring in town, and the town is already starting this capital improvement plan, so they're gonna be looking at long-range planning, and the bond issues they're gonna be looking at. I know they're looking at town hall. They gotta make some changes to safety complex, because there's the way it was built, there's problems with the way it was built. And because ice comes off the roof and collects in front of where the fire engines come out.
Oh, great.
So it was improperly built, so that can be really dangerous, driving around in the wintertime. And even when there's lots of rain. So there's issues that they're looking at, and I think, we could decide to be part of their CIP, or we can do our own. It really depends how we want to do it. But they are looking at their capital, and they're also looking at the roads and stuff like that, and we need to get a sense of what we can do, what we need to do. So we need to make decisions on that.
Yep. Yep. All right, well, part of the strategic plan, when they did the focus groups, they asked people what their most important, what things needed to be improved, that kind of thing, and everybody just threw up all their ideas, and then they rated them.
Right.
each focus group rated their biggest concerns to their least concerns. And space was an issue, but it wasn't one of the top concerns at that time, and that was when we had 140 extra kids in that building. So it wasn't one of their top priorities, you know?
It wasn't.
But I still think that the older building, if nothing else, it would be nice to see some plans to maybe renovate or to expand or to do something. I mean, we really need to reevaluate it again, I think, and see, especially with bond issues, especially with our bonds going away.
Right.
There's gonna be some money there, some decent amounts of money to be able to do something maybe. So, all right, we agreed we would table this until the next meeting?
Yep.
Okay, so,
Are we tabling the charge, or are we tabling establishing the fact that you're going to do a strategic plan? Because if we're going
the
to.
charge,
Okay, so we need to vote on the strategic plan.
right, so,
We can decide on that.
right, okay, so, it sounds, I just need a motion. Do we want to develop a strategic plan with Mark Dolan as our facilitator from the New Hampshire School Board Association?
I'll make that motion.
When do we want to, are we talking about starting this next year or the year after?
Right away,
Right away?
is what Mark Dolan was
He
talking
said,
about.
start now.
He
Call him up
said,
and get
start
it going.
now and it'll be done in 6 months, the plan.
All right, we got the $8,000.
We have
We
it
do,
in the
we
budget
have it.
transfers already.
It's in the budget transfers and we'll show you where. Okay, any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Budget transfer requests. Okay. So some of these are from October.
Well, only one, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
When we had, last meeting, we had one that involved the grants, and you had asked me, you know, which month did you think we had made the initial grant transfers from the general fund? And when I was looking, I wasn't completely positive if, like, I had it in my packet, but it was nowhere else. I had only been here 3 weeks, so it could have been omitted. I'm not sure if it was or not, but my guess is that it was, so I put it in for safety's sake.
Okay, okay. And it looks like that 1,200,5564, that the account number that we're taking the money from, on a large lump sum of money, that's 75,464.
Oh, you're looking at the October one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that account, that 1,200,5564
Yes.
when we budgeted last year, that line increased by $114,995. So I'm guessing that is where a lot of the IDA money got
I
put.
think so too. I did the best I could.
Yeah, I
with
mean, that,
extrapolating it.
it
but-
makes sense that that would be the case.
Yeah.
Okay, so, because I went back to look just to make sure that there was
I
a lot of
know.
money there, and there was a lot of money added to
Yeah.
that account. Okay. All right, and I have one question. I think I got a question on this. Does anybody have any questions about the transfers?
And my apologies if, I omitted that back then. I thought
No,
I sent it.
I kind of remember seeing it, so I'm wondering if you
Yeah.
handed it to us at a meeting
I
instead
could
of it
have.
being in the packet.
And maybe that's what
But I
happened.
couldn't find it,
but-
I went back to the packet and I couldn't find it in the electronic packet either.
Yeah.
So this is obviously just to, it's not like you just did this, you did it back then.
I did it because
Right. But
This
that's
is
just for.
confirmation.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
I just wanted you
informational
to
part.
I
know.
want to make sure it's on the record.
Yeah. Okay.
And what I think I'm gonna do from now on, if it's okay, it was came up with the auditor today, I'm gonna make these budget transfers almost in manifest form, so I have signatures from the board.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Asked for that.
That's,
We
but if you do that, aren't you making the transfer before we approve it?
No, I
Oh,
would,
no, it wouldn't be done with the manifest, it would be on the form and you'd sign it at the meeting.
like,
Okay.
I would make this kind of like a,
Okay.
Yeah.
kind of a mock
manifest.
manifest, you know what I mean? Because when I talked to the auditor about some of the changes, I would feel more comfortable with signatures and, because
we won't make this
when we
mistake
have the
again.
notes, they just say budget transfers as presented, and
true.
it's not specific, so
Yeah.
I just want,
It's confirmation.
Okay,
Is that okay?
Good.
That's
That
fine.
way we won't have any questions after the meeting.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's fine. We asked for the grant application. I did send it to everybody, the most recent grant application.
Oh, yes.
So on that, I don't know if you have it.
The IDEA grant, I took it offline and
okay.
sent it to them. Do you have a question about it?
I just wondered what indirect costs means, because it says indirect costs associated with purchase of services and goods involving special ed students. That's
How much is it? Is it like 5?
It should be 4 something. I think.
4,149.
Okay. Basically, for every grant that you have, you're allowed to, I think, every district has their own percent.
Let me preface this. In this year's revenues, the prior administration had put indirect cost as a source of revenue. So one of the things we did was we looked at the grants, because as Sue was saying, every district has a certain percentage that they can take out of the grant to use as overhead
Oh, okay.
to pay for
Okay, I've heard of that
the
before.
administration of the grant.
Mhm.
So we had the people who write the grants put in indirect costs to meet that level of revenue,
Okay,
so that we would meet the budget accordingly.
okay, so that goes into our general fund?
It goes into the general fund, yeah. How was it distributed?
Well, I think we did it backwards though, because we didn't set it up as revenue here. We were gonna reduce expenses in the general fund.
Where does the money go?
Like,
Where do we put it into?
I think some
It
of
says
the,
transfer to special revenue funds.
right, I believe we reduced like an SAU line. At least we did.
We would be putting money into a line, not taking it out. It would become the indirect costs, $4,000 from the grant would go to a line to be expended.
Yes, and that's exactly right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So do we remember specifically which line? I don't.
Not in that one.
No,
I don't
we did
think
that in the
we,
fall.
oh, the 4,800 you mean?
Yeah.
4,100.
Yeah, 41.
Did we do that specifically? Because we were looking for where all the money was.
I actually
stored.
have all the entries on my desk, let me go
Okay.
grab them.
Yeah, so that, we had seen that in the revenues, and we wanted to make sure that we collected the revenue, because it had to be reflected somewhere in the budget. Do we have any idea now where? No, but
Okay.
it's now goes into the general.
Okay.
How does the budget amount and then the projected amount, how do they calculate these? Does it depend on how many students you
Yes.
have?
It's a pretty heavy calculation.
Yeah.
But they get a block grant from the government for,
Okay.
$100 million. And then the DOE has a formula that they apply, and then it tells you how much you get as a school district.
Okay, so it can change.
It changes every year.
Okay.
Not usually by a lot, but it's been going down steadily.
You know,
Well,
I
we
don't,
allocated 105, and then this last one projected was 135, so,
Yeah.
so that was 30,000 more than
So
the
all
last
I
one.
really,
we
all I
had.
really cared about honestly was what was it for? Like, now that I hear what you're saying, I know that does happen
Okay.
with the grants, so I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I just wasn't understanding it that way. I wasn't understanding.
see, what I had to do when I got this budget, as you know, everything was gross budgeted.
Right.
So
Yeah, I
the
never
journal
saw that.
entries that I have here that say copied on them, along with this 75,000, if you take them all, they add up to the 210,300.
Okay.
But since then, there were a couple of other minor changes that we had to make. For instance, the number that was, that became the actual for the IDA grant was like $323 difference. So I had to take $323 and put it back in the general fund to make it tie out with the Department of Ed's records.
Mhm.
And I did the same thing on Title I, I believe it was.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
And it looks like we do have social work services, like we
Yes.
are paying
We
somebody
are
to do
indeed.
that
That
work,
is
so
correct.
it's not like we have a void there.
No.
Which is what.
She did
you know.
contract with the social worker.
yeah, when we pay him every month, I believe.
Good. That's good to know for everybody, because I know
Absolutely.
during budget season, that was like, it was,
It did come up, yeah.
it was basically said that we've cut that out of the budget, but we are,
We added it
we are
into the
able
grant.
to do it with
Not
grant
as
money.
much service, but enough.
Right, we don't have a full-time employee, but we're still doing services for families that need it. And it looks like we're able to buy a laptop, 2 laptops, one for our special ed director and one for the,
They needed to be replaced, and they were able to spend it on.
I think that's great. And a portable printer and a broadband account for Melissa's great too,
Mhm.
because she's off on the road.
She
and
is.
You have to
Yes,
be able to
she is.
connect.
Yes, she does.
So I think that's nice, and I'm happy to see that grants can cover that kind of thing for us.
Absolutely.
Same thing with the iPads for the kids.
Mhm.
Oh, and then the special ed transportation for extracurricular, it's 4,000. We usually
Right.
have that in the budget, right? In the regular operating budget, the special ed transportation field trip?
Some, but I think she
Is
has a
that
specific
additional
use,
money?
yeah.
Oh, it's
She has a
additional, okay.
specific use for that, although I don't know how we
We don't-
budgeted last year. I just pulled it out.
Mhm. And then we're doing broadband though for all the special ed educators. 24 months. 1,500.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I'll have to take a look at that. I haven't looked at that since.
Sarah was trying to make some changes with her technology, I know that. And she worked closely with Tom.
Right. I haven't met with her about the grant, I'll ask her about that and see what her justification is.
Because if they're in the building now with the Wi-Fi,
Right,
maybe
with the
when we
Wi-Fi.
didn't have the Wi-Fi, it was
Right.
something that needed
And
to be
I
done.
also know that she was implementing some new software, or is planning to, so she
Mhm.
may have needed it for that.
Okay,
The new Wi-Fi will make a difference though,
yeah,
too.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi.
right,
So I'll
yeah,
ask
for
her.
access.
I know this might sound weird, but what, did you look at Mind Play 2 Seats? Does anyone have
The
any idea
which?
what that, just out of curiosity, Mind Play 2 Seats, it's $5,500, I don't know what.
That might be the software.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I know there was some software that she said, only so many people could be on at the same time, I mean,
You have to
on
buy
at once.
licenses.
The 2 seats.
Yeah.
that's 2 seats or licenses for.
Yeah, exactly,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
But
Now it makes
when
sense.
I talked with her, she said it was really innovative software, and she felt it was gonna help a lot of students,
Excellent.
yeah.
That's great. Okay, so do I have a motion to accept the transfers as soon as given to us?
Make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And, oh, by the way, Andy, that's where the money's coming from for the facilitator, is out of the retirement stipend, because we only have one person retiring this year.
All right,
But it's been budgeted for 2, like the contract reads that we should.
you have to.
Yep. Okay, so future and follow-up agenda items. Anybody?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I actually think we should consider, we were, because of the way the budget, we have to do our budgets. We had to plan for health insurance for the paras in March. And yet, that fall, our president arbitrarily changed the law. And so many other businesses did not have to provide health insurance. I really think we should seriously consider suing the Obama administration, and demanding, by the 14th Amendment, that order be rescinded and all businesses be required to provide insurance to their employees as per the law, because we had to do it. Either that, he can reimburse us for the amount that we spent, the $132,000 that we had to spend. No, whatever we did spend. But we had to set it aside, it went against our taxes,
Well, it was a
$64,000.
warrant, you folks put it as a warrant
Right,
last year.
right. But I think we should seriously consider that, because a lot of other, we chose to keep our paras at 30 hours, and that we were required to plan for providing health insurance long before the health insurance law was arbitrarily changed.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
want that as a future agenda
Yes,
item?
right.
Let's do that, 'cause
Right.
then you can tell us all
Right,
about it
right.
then.
The other future agenda item I would like to discuss
Mhm.
is the federal government has never fully reimbursed any school for special education services according to federal law. I think we should seriously consider filing suit against the federal government and demand that we be reimbursed going back to 1977, or as far back as we can calculate to get the monies that we are owed by the federal government. And I'd be so most certainly think we can talk about asking other SAUs to join in on us with the suit.
Okay, so that's another future agenda
Yeah.
item. Any other light, relaxing type things that we'd like to do while we're at this?
There's no one I'd like to see right
I just have a couple things that I wanted to maybe do for, it's like a housekeeping, if you will. We spend a lot of time at our meetings. Yes, that's true. And so, in order to make this more streamlined, perhaps, like when we have our meetings, if we could really stick to information about our strategic plan and goals. So like a principal's report, for instance, could we have something where it just really does answer to how are we doing with the strategic plan goals that, say, John is responsible for? Because eventually you get these things lined up here. Or, you know, achievement, or enrollment, or any of those things, like the real nuts and bolts, and have the report cover those goals and objectives. Special ed report, same thing. You know.
Neat, no fluff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like some of the fluff, though. I like hearing what's going on in the school.
But we get the newsletter.
Yeah, it's all in there.
He's just regurgitating the newsletter, and so is Sarah when they tell us what they did. You know, those nice things we see in the newsletter, and they're the exact.
So can we get a copy of the newsletter in the packet then? If it's already there, can we just?
You should get your email of it.
Don't you get
No, I
your
don't.
You don't?
Your wife does. Somebody does in your family.
Well, she may, but I don't. Can we at least get a copy of that? I mean, it's not gonna be a huge deal. If it's already
We will
electronic,
make sure this one's right there.
that would work.
Newsletter for Greg.
There we go.
I just don't want to add to the bulk of the packet.
Or just add the link. If it's online, just add the link.
Okay.
Right?
Newsletter
That's a
link.
good cut and paste.
It's actually right on the website, too, by the way. Oh, things like, perhaps things like for the technology director, it might be nice for us to see inventory and that, you know, what her inventory is.
Do you want that every meeting?
No.
I would think only the,
I mean, there's usually a requirement of inventory done at the close of a school year every year.
right, but hers is, she has it in the computer.
That's true.
It's just a printout.
Yeah, that's true.
It tells you how many laptops you have, how many
Okay.
app, and the only reason for that is because then we can see how many iPads we have, how many,
Right.
all of the devices that we have out there.
And planning ahead,
Yeah.
what we,
Okay.
what
So
we
you want that to
plan
be
for.
just a spreadsheet on her report every time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And then for facilities, I was thinking what his needs are and what might be broken that he needs to have repaired,
Okay.
that he knows of, you know.
Yeah.
And Sue asked me to put on the agenda, the auditors are going to come to talk to us.
Right.
And if you have any specific questions that you want answered about maybe the report that they give, the auditor's report that they give, or any reports that we get from Sue now, then jot those things down because the auditor wanted to have them before they came, right?
Just so they could, you know, do their research if need be. So if you want to drop me an email by, you know, April 3rd or something, that'd be great. Because they'll be coming on the 8th.
Right, and we have them coming at 6:30?
Yes.
So with the hope that we can put them first in the
Oh, sure,
program and
yeah.
then get going. Okay.
It's either going to be Cheryl or Mike.
So our next meeting is Tuesday, April 8th.
Correct.
Anybody else have any other future involved?
Just one request, is there any way to check, with the school to see when we have board meetings scheduled? Can they put that on the front, you know,
Oh, the sign.
Yeah, the
Or
sign.
On Sunday.
you
We
know,
used to do
just
that.
so parents won't, because everyone's so busy,
Yep.
and most people go by that, so.
Yep.
I don't know,
We
there's
used
a
to
lot
do
of
that.
competition for that space. I can ask.
You can be arrested.
Oh, that's a good point.
Well, you know,
But there is
I
a lot
see
of
it-
competition.
I see it at a lot of schools when I go by, up
Right.
front.
We used to do it all the time. Yeah.
Marquee, board meeting announcements. Okay, got
Anything
it.
else?
Good suggestion.
So, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.